Of what importance was the recent POPCRU's 8th National Congress, and what prompted POPCRU's resolution to transform the criminal justice cluster? And would POPCRU accept prosecution of its members implicated in the Marikana shootings? And why has POPCRU defended National Commissioner Riyah Phiyega on the Marikana tragedy? What time is it? It's question time. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. Recently, the Police, Prisons and Civil Rights Union POPCRU came out of its 5-day-long 8th National Congress in KwaZulu-Natal. The gathering was held under the theme, Transforming the Criminal Justice Cluster in Defense of the Working Class Struggle for the Advancement of the National Democratic Revolution. Close quote. Quite an appropriate theme considering years of leadership instability within the country's security cluster. Just under a week after the Congress, though, President Jacob Zuma released the Farlam Commission's compiled Marikana Report, with some police officers implicated in the August 2012 fatal shooting of 34 mine workers. POPCRU is reported to have then defended both its members and National Police Commissioner Riyah Phiyega, saying she had nothing to do with the death of workers at Marikana. In fact, they said she was in Pretoria. A reminder that you can call us. This is a live program. Air your views on the following numbers: 089-110-4210, or if you're outside the country, 00278911042110. Our Twitter handle is @QuestionTime24. My guest today was Nateledi, who is the General Secretary of POPCRU. Nateledi, welcome to Question Time. The Congress seemed to have been quite a success. And when I went through the resolutions of Congress, there was nothing amazing. These are resolutions which I would have expected POPCRU to take, and you have actually taken them before. You are reaffirming some which were taken either at COSATU level or at ANC level and all that. Overall, what were your impressions?
Well, as you have indicated in your introduction, our Congress was quite a success. It was preceded by a memorial lecture of one of our fallen heroine, Pretty Shooping. And indeed, we outlined, starting on the 15th of June, for the whole week, we presented the number of documents, discussion documents. We outlined them, and there were some detailed discussions on all those through the commissions, yes, which emerged with the resolutions that you have seen. Indeed, in our overall impression, the Congress was quite a success.
Transforming the criminal justice cluster in defense of the working class struggle for the advancement of the NDR. Very good English.
Indeed. Well, we are looking at the components. Since we are within the criminal justice cluster, we advocate for the transformation of the entire component.
What do you want to see done?
We've got the Justice Department, which, as we speak now, obviously has got some challenges, and there has been instability as well within that department. Now, what we are looking at is that component must operate within its mandate.
Yes.
Its mandate, it's outlined obviously in terms of the Act. We have the NPA as well, which should be operating within its mandate, which is the NPA Act. What we have recently seen and what has been going on with the allegations that are going on there, that they have been involved in terms of who should be running the country, illegal tapings or tappings of that institution, which is not their mandate. The mandate is prosecution without fear or favor.
Yes.
So that's what they should be doing. And now, if that is not happening, obviously there's a cause for concern. We have to transform that institution to be in line with what they are there to do. We've got Well, the Department of Correctional Services, the SABs, they should be coordinating. These are part of the criminal justice cluster. They should be working in a coordinated fashion to avoid a lot of other, the issues of overcrowding. Obviously, those are issues that are, because it's the justice, it's the police, it's the justice, it's the correctional services, which is at the receiving end. So the entire components of the criminal justice cluster, we say they should be transformed. Well, looking obviously in the composition of those the institutions, particularly the NPA,
yes,
and in the justice, they should reflect the composition of our country, which is not the case at the moment.
So in simple English, you're saying the NPA must hire black people?
Well, it must hire, yes, indeed, the elevate as well those who are not represented within the levels of the NPA.
Okay, you're not necessarily talking about the head itself, because the
no.
NPA
We talk about the entire component.
Okay.
It's not an individual.
All right.
We talk about the entire.
And at SABS level, you're happy?
Yeah.
Are you happy with how things are?
Well, SABS is operating. There are challenges going on.
Okay.
Well, other than what you have just introduced earlier on about, which is not now's issue, it happened 2-3 years ago. As for what are we happy now? Yes, we are moving. We are operating within the South African Police Service. We talk to the policy issues. Okay. We engage on various levels.
All right. The department. Some of your members are actually complaining that why do you accept 6.4%?
We have not accepted 6.4%.
But that's what they got.
Well, they have. Well, we have accepted 7%. We have accepted 7%, which is as per the agreement that was signed a couple of weeks ago.
Okay.
And it is government which implemented 6.4.
You have not accepted?
We have not accepted 6.4.
Okay.
And we have since corrected.
All right.
That element of which is now the deficit, if you want. Okay. It has been corrected a day or two back. And
POPCRU will be campaigning for the ANC in the coming local government elections?
Of course, we are part of the federation, and the federation will be campaigning for the African National Congress. Indeed, we will be part of the that process. Okay.
Do you support the expulsion of both NUMSA and Vavi from COSATU?
Well, COSATU has resolved that this is the way to go, and we are bound by the decisions of the federation. We indeed support.
Yeah, but your resolution sounded very vociferous. You were not mincing words.
Indeed, it's precisely what I'm saying. We support. We support the decision taken by the federation at its constitutionally well-constituted meeting.
Okay. Yes. I want us to go for a quick break, and but before that, are you going to launch your own radio and TV channel?
Well, indeed, that's what we are. The Congress resolved that we should consider looking at those areas, that space of the media in general. Okay. The possibility of a workers' bank, the radio station, and so on.
All right. Yeah. When we return, I want us to talk about this matter, which I know you're not very comfortable talking about, but you have spoken about it, the Marikana matter. You are very clear. Phiyega is not guilty. I'm going to bring in somebody who holds a different view, actually, in as far as that matter is concerned, but only after the break. This is question time. The numbers to dial 08911042110 or 00278911042110 if you're outside the borders of this country. We shall return.
A woman is way more likely to be killed by a lover or her husband than she is by anyone else.
Christopher Panayuto, accused of orchestrating the murder of his wife, Jade, is to apply for bail in a bid to get out of the overcrowded cells and escape the samp and beans diet.
Here is a man that's accused of killing his wife. He's worried about the special diet. He's worried that he's eating beans and samp there.
Sadly, a fan was also reportedly killed in a scuffle with police during the pitch invasion.
I'm surprised that the city press is going with the picture of the celebration instead of showing us the picture of the person that has been killed.
Watch Media Monitor with me, Alicia Jali, Sundays at 9 a.m. only on the SABC News Channel.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Time. My guest now, I'm joined by the leader of Congress of the People, Ntate Msuwa Kota. Nkosinazi Teledi, who is the General Secretary of POPCRU, is still here. Gentlemen, welcome. Ntate Kota, I know that we were supposed to have been talking to you about something separate, but your party has spoken out against, or rather not against, but you spoke about the report that was released by President Zuma on Marikana. POPCRU holds a different view.
What is their view?
Did I tell you? Your view is the commissioner is not guilty. She must not be held liable because she was not even in Marikana.
Well, okay.
No, go ahead. Confirm what I've just said.
Okay, this is what we have said. We explained the chain of command in terms of the incidences that prevailed in Marikana, who was saying what, who was calling, who was giving the instructions as to what should happen immediately on the instances that the members found themselves in. And we have indicated indeed that at that moment the commissioner was sitting in Pretoria, in the head office. That was happening in Marikana, quite a couple of kilometers away from. That's the position that we have put in that regard.
Okay. Do you still feel the same way after the report was released?
Well, that's the position that we hold. Yes.
Okay, that'll good.
Well, I think from what we understand, the commissioner was on the ground in Marikana, on and off. When it comes to the question of the responsibility for what happened in Marikana, we must say that that responsibility, first and foremost, rests with the executive. There is no bureaucrat. There is no director general, because the commissioner is in a position of a director general.
Yes.
There are decisions she cannot take, which only the executive can take. For instance, to take the decision to use force to the extent of taking life, no director general, not even the chief of the National Defense Force, can take a decision like that. Such a decision has to be taken by the commander of the armed forces. In the case of the police, it's got to be taken by as well by the executive authority. The president, advised by his cabinet ministers, and then the executioners, that is now the commissioner or the experts in the military, must carry out instructions. If they're going to shoot and use force to take life, that decision must have been taken by somebody else, and then they are instructed to carry it out. And it is impossible that our police could operate without direction from the executive. If they did so, they would have been dismissed immediately or even arrested. That thing didn't happen. To this day, it has not happened. The commission's terms of reference is very strange because it gives an instruction that they must not make a finding about the actions or omissions of the executive.
Okay. Whose head do you want?
No, we want full information first and foremost. The executive, somebody in the executive must have taken a decision that the police must take live ammunition and go to Marikana, that they must wear bulletproof vests and all of that. All of that must have been taken by people who understood or who believed and who gave authority. Because you won't send the police there with live ammunition unless you intend them to take life. We also know that on the day before the massacre on the 16th, a decision had already been made that there will be force used. Who took that decision? It could not have been the National Commissioner or anybody underneath it, because those people have not the power to take such a decision.
But are you saying that Judge Farlam has lied?
Well, insofar as the terms of reference said that he must not make a finding with regard to the police, his hands was tied. But we now need to know, why did the president and the executive decide that they must not make such a finding? They would have probed that, they would have made a finding, and we want that finding.
John, you are in Dobsonville, Soweto. John? Okay, John is no longer with us. Is POPCRU going to defend its members in the event that they are charged, as has been recommended, that an investigation must now be launched by the DPP Northwest?
Well, the report, it's quite a thick report. It has been produced. In fact, we are still grappling with it now. To answer directly your question, whether or not we are going to represent our members, our core business is to represent our members when they are charged departmentally. Well, in terms of the criminal charges, as what you are asking about, the public prosecutions in Northwest, which must take certain steps, they were on duty. They did not invite themselves there. The South African Police Service will have to represent them in terms of the criminal charges. If they are charged departmentally, indeed, POPCRU, we are going to represent them internally. Maybe just the report, I think it's not saying they condemn and make a finding on the plans that were flouted, or not flouted, but they were defective. I think that's the word used. They were defective, which led to the unfortunate situation. And therefore, and looking at the situation, obviously, the police officers found themselves at that moment, obviously, when it was happening, at the instant of where you have to take a decision. When faced with the situation, there are prescripts as well, the Criminal Procedure Act, which come into play as to what you should be. Those are the issues that we are looking at.
But it is also very critical of the role that was played by the National Commissioner and the Provincial Commissioner.
Yeah, of course. Those are the plans. They come into the plans, obviously planning the situation as they get the reports from time to time. Obviously, what should be the plan? What should be the next?
Should she resign?
Well, we don't think she should resign.
Well, I must say that the fact that I'm saying that the executive political responsibility rests with the executive. What we cannot overlook is also the fact that within the area of responsibility of execution, there are responsibilities that rest on the head of the National Commissioner. And to that extent, to the extent that her responsibility, the responsibility of that position goes, she has to answer as well. Now, if she had not been instructed to use force, she must carry responsibility for that. I've already said that if the executive had not given such a command, they would have dismissed her. Mm. Now, secondly, there is in this country a constitution that says everybody has the right to life. In other words, she cannot have a power to decide that so-and-so's life must be taken.
So who do you suspect gave this order?
Well, I'm saying this. I think I've said, I don't want to repeat that. The executive.
Who in the executive?
No, I cannot know. I don't know that. That's why I'm saying it's a very questionable issue that the president's terms of reference said that the commission must not make a finding with regard to the executive. I am quite certain if the commission had been allowed, it would have probed that matter and it would have indicated who took that decision. Therefore, it means the executive did not want a finding made in this regard. The finger points to the executive when it comes to this responsibility.
William, you're calling us from Krugersdorp?
Hi, how are you, Tedu?
Yeah, I'm well.
Look, Leganda Delgot. You know, my problem with the whole situation that Delgota is here. I've never, since the report came out, I've never heard people really talking about those widows, what is going to happen to the children, what's going to happen to them. It's all about politics. My worry is that the poor people are going to be used as political tools, and will go to court and they'll be awarded a meager amount, and that will be forgotten about it. And the politicians will be the ones who will be bickering about who must fall, who's not supposed to fall. So my problem really is about those people. What can be done for the children of those people? What can be done for these people? If we can come together as a country and say, what can be done for these people? Maybe we can move forward. And the politics that are taking place, really, they sadden me when I look at the situation of those people. Thank you.
Quickly.
In order to decide what must happen to the widows, to the orphans and all of that, we need to know who failed them in leading to the death of their loved ones.
But are you saying because if we want another commission now?
No. This question has not been answered, sir. We can't even go to the families and say, this is who's responsible for the death of your loved ones.
Okay, so what should happen?
Well, there must be an investigation.
Another one?
No, it's not another one. Because this commission was told not to find who did these other things in this area.
Okay.
Unless we want a cover-up. This whole thing is a whitewash. It's hiding the activity of the executive and trying to blame a bureaucrat who has no powers to do what was done.
That is it. What will make POPCRU happy?
Well, the unfortunate situation indeed we feel about the lost lives.
Yes.
And in our view, what should happen, there should be some actuarial work that must be done in terms of the needs of those, the family, and make a determination in terms of what should be between the loss of income now and for a number of years. That's an actual service that is needed.
Okay.
Which should, it's an immediate, we should immediately address obviously the plight
You see?
of this the family members, their kids going to school. How should now the surviving spouses survive?
Okay.
If we are still going to seek for another commission to investigate, which will take another 3 years, it's a problem. Now we are not talking about what the caller is asking. What should happen
in a
to
few
the
seconds?
No, I only wanted to say that it said it's very unfair to ask an employee of the government to comment on this question.
No, he's here. This is not an employee of government.
If this is a member of the South African Police Service, it's very unfair to ask that question.
He's the General Secretary of POPCRU.
And I carry the full responsibility of the organization POPCRU.
Yes.
And
are you saying
I'm not accountable to South African Police Service?
No, I must tell you this.
Okay.
In no democracy can you have public servants pass judgment on their government.
Okay. Hold the thought there. Unfortunately, we've run out of time.
We are taking the departments from time to time to court.
Okay.
Day in, day out.
All right.
And we get judgments against the government.
Thank you. Hold it there.
There's something wrong with our government.
That was question time for today, and have yourself a wonderful time. Goodbye.
SABC News seeks to be the